Good morning, Jags. This is Fahad. Today is Monday, December 7th. Let's get started. The chart that's in front of you is Celanese, symbol CE. This is a specialty chemical company. Now, for those who remember, this was back on October 28th in the conversations that day when Chronicle presented the bull case for this specialty chemical company. Right here, you can see, you can review this, everything else along with it. Reviewing CE earnings and looking for a swing long entry as it comes back to trend support. This was on October 28th. And if you look at October 28th is right here. As you can see, the stock had pulled back in a couple days prior to that. If you draw the trend support, which is exactly what we highlighted, it provided a near perfect entry at that particular time, right at the trend support. And subsequently, this stock went from 109 all the way rising to 138, climbing by more than 30% over the course of next 3 to 4 weeks following that discussion. Now, I bring this up because while the stock may actually spend some time and consolidate now and digest some of these gains in the short term, most likely what's likely to happen is that it's going to sit around here between 130 to 135 before taking next leg higher. But keep an eye on this one because the fundamental picture that's emerging in the background is significantly positive. So any of these days, we could see more analyst upgrades and price hike targets, and then we could see this thing basically rip higher and take another leg all the way to 140 to $145 per share. On Friday, it closed at 132. Here is another technical look on this chart. As you can see, this is the major VOP support level that it has been building after breakout through 127.50, went all the way to 138, pulled back, build a small base for the last couple of days. Friday was a very interesting day for Celanese with a very high volume spike as it moved out of the base. Let's see if this thing follows through with more upside or if it's going to perhaps take another week or 2 weeks and consolidate here in the tight range before firmly starting to move higher. Nevertheless, as long as this is holding this 127.50 support, the stock remains firmly in control of the bulls, and fundamental outlook is pointing out that we're going to see more upside. Now, what am I seeing behind the door? Here's what's happening. Take a look at this chart. This is the Chinese acetic acid prices. Something clearly going on over here beginning from September. We saw a massive spike in the actual selling prices of acetic prices. This is exactly the core business that helps Celanese. And you can see that after a prolonged downtrend of almost 2 years, starting from September, we started to see sharp surge. And just in the last 3 to 4 months, these prices have gone up by 70 some percent. And as a result, a lot of analysts are starting to notice that. So here is a comment that comes from Bank of America in which they talk about Chinese acetic acid prices have rallied another $100 per metric ton on a week-over-week basis, bringing spot to $535 metric ton, which is the highest price since November 2018. In other words, if this was a stock chart, you would think of it that the price is rising from 435 to 535 in a single week. That would equate to a percentage increase of about 22% in the average selling prices. For reference, this is $85 per metric ton higher than the $450 metric ton that Celanese considers as normal, and $285 metric ton up from April lows. Put it differently, when you look at the last earnings report that came out from Celanese, they believed that the average prices for the month of November and beyond, basically for the fourth quarter outlook, is going to be around $450 per metric ton. And yet we are seeing in real time prices spiking as high as $535 per metric ton. And that's not the only one. Other things we're also benefiting, which is PVC continues to increase the global tightness. So US PVC increased by $25 per metric ton week over week to $1,300, which is higher than the $1,290 price that was reached, which was a highest level in July 2008 before the financial crisis. And demand side on the PVC is strong both domestically as well as internationally. That also favors a lot of other specialty chemical companies such as Westlake, WLK, Dow Chemical, DOW, DuPont. All of them actually have very nice technical setups as they are all starting to break out from bull flag. So here is Dow Chemical. You can see this one also pulled back in the last couple of days and now starting to bounce back. Very nice rally on Friday. And similarly with DuPont, DuPont is starting to break out from a tight bull flag that points to about $70 per share. But specifically, the amount of increase that we are seeing in acetic acid prices is what catches my attention, which clearly benefits Celanese. So I'm looking for this stock to take a new leg higher, should rally all the way to 140 to 145. I don't know if this will happen this week. Nonetheless, the background is there. Could take another week or so of a small basing formation before we start to see that leg higher, because fourth quarter is going to be a blowout from this earnings, because the company guided $450 metric ton and we're seeing prices on the street at $535. All right, that's it from me. Jay.
Morning, Vahan. So today, just want to give a quick preview of symbol LOVE, the Lovesac company. This is, for those that do not know, this is a retailer that designs and sells furniture comprised of modular couches called sanctionals, and then beanbag chairs known as sacks, as well as accessories such as blankets and pillows. The company will be reporting its Q3 earnings before the open this Wednesday. And I should preface that when I look at the moves that this company has had over the past 7 to 8 reports, it is quite volatile. According to Street Insider, if I take a look at these last reports, here are some of the one-day moves in the stock. Minus 15%, plus 13%, plus 27%, minus 18%, plus 6%, minus 23%, plus 27%. So if you are inclined to somehow take a position in the stock, know that this is always a volatile mover. Looking at some of the recent checks, third-party engagement data tracked by SimilarWeb indicated a quarter-over-quarter increase in total web traffic to the company's website, with total web visits rising 5.8% in Q3 from Q2. Early quarter commentary from management was also positive, as the company had a successful Labor Day following an increase in marketing spending. When you then look at read-throughs from competitors, those also point to healthy trends, not only in the category in Q3, but into the holiday season. Wayfair and Williams-Sonoma, for example, increased 67% and 49% respectively. And then e-commerce platforms such as Amazon and Shopify cited the home category as a top holiday category thus far in Q4. And Google search trends show healthy search interest for Lovesac through Q3, with an acceleration in early Q4 to a 12-month high. Another topic that you're going to want to watch out for are the company's shop-in-shops. These are relationships the company has with physical locations, physical brick and mortar retailers. Best Buy is one of them. On the last call, they did mention that 5 of their 7 were open as of the end of the quarter, and the remaining 2 reopened in August. And they actually launched they're now available on the Best Buy website as of November 2nd. But the big relationship that the company has is with Costco. COVID has unfortunately put a dent in this relationship. The management talked about how they only operated 19 Costco pop-up shops in Q2, and that was actually compared to 209 from the prior year period. Now, management did talk about how they do not expect any contribution from Costco for the balance of the year as it reevaluates the partnership. So those are some other topics to keep an eye on besides
That seems,
yeah.
That seems like it could be a pretty significant event for the company for 2021 from comps standpoint. I mean, I think these comps are going to moderate a little bit overall. I mean, they're just too hot right now, and I think that the housing market overall in trend. But when partnerships like this, with such as Costco, start to come into play with in 2021, they could be materially positive over the long run. Um, Go ahead. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was pretty much done with my
So I
commentary.
will connect the dots for you because there's another stock that I was also looking at, which goes hand to hand with Lovesac, because this is all talking about essentially it's all tied into the housing industry, and ultimately the bedding companies are very much tied to the same strong trend and channel checks as furniture industry, and so particularly those that are market share gainers such as Lovesac. And so purple is another one. I'll just add that this one is to be watched closely because this is a setup for another technical breakout. And anytime when I see, generally speaking, strong channel checks for purple, particularly purple innovation, that is, they usually tend to translate similarly for Lovesac as well as some other very high quality furniture companies. And here is what Bank of America pointed out very recently, in fact, just a couple of days ago, according to their betting comps and sales growth based on the aggregated Bank of America quarterly data of the debit card and the credit card sales. And this growth was up 36% year over year, compared to 40% in September and 23% in August. So basically ridiculously strong. We're talking 36, 40% and staying that way very, very strong. And Purple Innovation guided for its fourth quarter, they're going to see 60% sales growth on a year over year basis for the fourth quarter, and margins will be up, or not margins, the gross profit will be up 90% year over year in the fourth quarter, just as strong as we saw in Q3. So just adding some more color to the same theme, essentially. This is a great company, by the way, Lovesac that is, and a nice technical setup for a potential breakout after 4 or 5 months. But I think if this goes, I think we're also going to see some green shoots in names like Purple Innovation. All right, let's stop over here. Chronicle will join us tomorrow. So that's it from us today, short and sweet. Keep an eye on the specialty chemical companies and keep an eye on some of these furniture and bedding companies that are beneficiary of strong housing trends. And that's it from us. We'll see you in the chat room shortly.